What is up, you guys? It is Zach coming at you with another video. I know it's a little after Halloween. We had intended to get this out on Halloween, but we recorded one of these for Triss's channel, and it ended up being a little longer than we thought, so we weren't able to actually do the recording, so whoopsie daisy. Yeah, so obviously, as I just said, I'm joined by Triss. How you doing today?
I am doing well, thank you. I'm excited to talk even more of Luigi's Mansion with the expert.
Yeah, it's gonna be some good jolly fun. And today we're going to be ranking the bosses. I'm gonna try and make this as speedy as possible because we got something to do in what 45-ish minutes. So
yeah,
so we're gonna dash through this. Anything you want to say before we get started?
Like last time, we're not counting Scarescraper related stuff.
Yeah, we're just counting the actual bosses that you fight within the game. So that's what we're doing today. We're ranking all the bosses in all the Luigi's Mansion games. So
this includes all 3 iterations of King Boo.
Yes, so this should be jolly good fun. All right, we're going to start off, of course, with Luigi's Mansion 1, starting off with Neville. Now, I feel like Neville, like you said last time, Triss, with the Gold Ghost, is a perfect baseline.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
bog standard, nothing special about him, but he's fine enough as he is.
Yeah. He's you know, the very first portrait ghost you encounter, and I remember, like, some people actually had, like, trouble figuring out his tell originally. Like, you kind of have to walk around his room a little bit if you're playing for the first time and actually try to figure out, you know, what do I have to do to catch this ghost?
Yeah.
They make you think a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like most people, I mean, even though they tell you, like, you know, like, these ghosts are a little bit different, I feel like because with Neville, you have to, like, wait a little bit. People just don't wait, so... all right.
But if you're thinking B for kind of like that baseline, I would agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking for Neville B. And his design is cool. And the one thing I love, and it's kind of the thing with the first 3 ghosts here, is like they're all like connected. They're part of a family, so it's like it kind of gives them a cooler edge to keep him above like a C because he is pretty simple. So yeah. All right. Next up is Lydia. What do you remember from Lydia's boss battle? Do you remember much of, or I can say this about any of the Luigi's Mansion 1 bosses?
I remember a lot of the Luigi's Mansion 1 bosses. I know for Lydia's, it's the whole thing of you gotta open the curtain.
Yeah.
Which then gets her to go close the curtain, and that's when you get her. Because I guess when she's in front of her mirror, she sees you the whole time, so you can't catch her off guard.
Yeah, it's it's more, yeah, it's that, and then also, like, when you open the window, it messes up her hair. So it's like she gets like, oh my god, my hair, it's becoming a mess, the wind is ruining it! And then she gets all frazzled, and then that's when you can catch her.
It's pretty funny for one of the early ones, too.
Yeah, I like that, like, because Neville doesn't really have too much of a personality. You know he's bookish, but, like, he doesn't really say anything. He just kind of sits there and reads. But at least Lydia, you can see that she's just a little, like, I don't want to say airheaded, but, like, she's like a little, like, I don't know, like, she's just a little weird. Like you know, one of those perfectionists, like, her hair must be perfect, and then she's freaking out, and I don't know, like, I like the fact she has a little bit of personality. I mean, she's definitely better than Neville. I'm trying to debate if he's top of B or bottom of A.
I would do top of B. I think we have a lot of ghosts here that I feel like some of these early game ones that are more about establishing what portrait ghosts are like are kind of going to be more mid B, high, or like low A kind of line. So I think higher than Neville, but still in B, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, next up is Chauncey, the first, like, big boss of the game. What do you think?
I think this is actually a really fun boss battle. Like, to this day, I still think it's a really fun boss battle. The presentation behind the whole thing is silly. Luigi has to beat up a child and then get shrunken down. It's good fun, honestly. And I would actually put this, like, no lower than A, personally.
I personally agree. I think it should go top of A. Like, I think, I mean, right now, it's the only one in A. But, like, you know, when we put others in it, like, this is just, like, the peak of, like a really solid boss.
Yeah. Agreed.
The Floating Rolindas. I don't know their actual first name. I think they're just known as the Floating Rolindas.
Yeah.
They're okay. They're fine.
Yeah, I gotta be real, I don't really like them that much because I remember growing up, I had so much trouble figuring out how to get them at their weak point.
Yeah, you have to like wait for them to bow, and it's like
it's kind of long.
Yeah, it's like a stretch. It's like a bit of a harder version of Neville's like thing.
Right.
So I'd say top of C for them. They're not like,
I was thinking somewhere around C. Definitely not down in D, but like
no D. I've got stuff reserved for there.
Sure.
Yeah, let's see here. Shivers, the butler, the wandering butler. I really
Shivers
like
is so
him.
funny.
Shivers
is so
him.
funny.
I like the fact that he's, I want to say he's the only ghost, portrait ghost, I should say. I'm looking through them just to make sure I'm not incorrect in the statement. He's the only one that wanders between multiple rooms. So, like, you actually do see him wandering the mansion, which I like. It makes him feel more like he's the butler of the mansion. He's walking around the hallways looking for things to do. And it adds a lot to his personality. And plus, there's the whole lore bit that he's, like, in love with Melody Pianissima, who's the next ghost we're going to talk about, which is really creepy because I believe her canon age is, like, only 23 and he's in his 50s, so... But I love him. He's just a wacky goofball. And the fact that he hates fire, but is always holding candles, the irony is just hot. Like, I love it. I'd say A for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him any lower than A. I think he's a lot of fun. He's got some of the most personality out of the original Portrait Ghosts. He's very silly, and I think, like, mechanically, too, it works out pretty well. I mean, like you said, he wanders the different rooms. You have to actually use the elemental magic against him.
Yeah.
Which is also one of the few ghosts you do that to.
Yeah, he's
not many.
One of the only ones. There's a few, but yeah, he's, like, one of the only ones, and it's really cool.
Yep.
Next up is Melody Pianissima, and I personally think, I don't know if it's going to be a hot take, but I think she's going to be our first S.
Oh, yeah, I'm actually with you. I think this one's really fun. You have to solve like a whole little puzzle and quiz questions, and it's a bunch of references. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like you got like Tataka's. I think she like there's an Easter egg where she can do Tataka's song, and then I think that's one of them. It's Tataka's song, the water theme, and like one of the ones from Super Mario Bros. 3, like just
like the overworld
songs.
theme. Yep.
Yeah, so you have to know your Nintendo, but then also like I think it's confirmed in her lore that she is a gamer, so like that also kind of gives her points. And I don't know, it's just a fun battle all around.
Yeah, it's a fun battle too. Like just everything with the music going on is pretty entertaining.
Yeah. Next up, we got Mr. Lugs.
Mr. Lugs.
You see, he's weird. His boss fight isn't anything special, but I can't help but love him.
Yeah.
Like, where do we put him? He's...
I was thinking top of A, personally.
Really?
I think his is... I love the presentation of Mr. Lugs. I love the fact that he actually spits fireballs at you, so he's one of the first portrait ghosts you've encountered that actually presents a bigger threat in terms of, like, what he can do. These are large projectiles flying at you in a very tight space, and... just the fact that he leaves you alone until you get rid of his food is also just really funny.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I agree with that. I was originally thinking bottom of A, but yeah, he's pretty good. I'll give you that.
Okay, so still below Chauncey because Chauncey's still like a bigger boss. But yeah,
Chauncey's crazy. Okay. All right, we got Spooky the dog. Spooky, unlike Polterpup, actually looks like a dog, so credit where credit's due. And I mean, he's a dog. He doesn't really do too much. Like, unlike Polterpup, he doesn't really have much personality.
Yeah, he's a quick one.
He's a quick one. I mean, it's cool that you capture up one of the Mr. Bones ghosts to, like, use the bone to make him like it. Like, that's cute, and you gotta fill up the water bowl to get, like, it's cool, but I'd still say probably somewhere in C, probably. Like, he's...
Yeah, I was thinking, like, low end of B, high C, somewhere. Like, they didn't do a ton with the idea of a ghost dog at the time.
Yeah, I'm down for either low B, high C, whichever you're feeling.
We'll do above the dancers if it'll let me. There we go. Above the dancers and C.
Perfect. And
now for the area 2 boss.
Yeah, we got Bogmire. Oh man, I struggle because the one thing I love about Bogmire, I mean, first of all, I do like his boss. It relies on you actually, like, learning it tests your controls with the C-stick, because that's the whole point of Luigi's Mansion, is utilizing the second stick, because it was new at the time, for Nintendo at least. And I think it did it really well with that boss fight. And I don't know if you know this, but Bogmire is, I think his literal like biography is, he is the essence of the mansion, the darkness and the despair of the mansion. Like that's
cool.
He's the embodiment of it, and I love that so much.
Yeah, I love that. That's really cool, actually. The fact that he's not just, you know, one of the inhabitants. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like he's different, and he's in the graveyard, so it's even more creepy. Like, I think he deserves to be an A, but I just don't know quite where in A he deserves to be.
I would actually put him above Chauncey, personally.
You know what? I can agree to that.
While Chauncey is, like, a really good, like, early game boss, I think Bogmire, especially with, like, the lore and, like, the difficulty of that fight, like, everything you have to do there, it just presents, like, a good threat.
Yeah, and the thing with Bogmire's boss fight as well, it's one of those boss fights where, like you could beat it, of course. Like, it's one of the harder fights, admittingly, but, like, when you get really good at it, it's one of those boss fights that you could show off to people. Like, yeah, I got Bogmire in just 2 captures. Like, it was that easy for me. Like,
yeah, that's pretty good.
Ones, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Alright, so now we start Area 3 with Biff Atlas. I like him. I don't love him. He's kind of like, I think he's kind of B tier, like another kind of standard, I mean, the gag of the punching bags in his face is cool. But other than that, he's pretty standard.
Yeah, he's silly, but I would think like somewhere in B.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say below even.
B for Biff.
B for Biff. B for Biff Atlas. Okay, this might be a hot take. So next up is Miss Petunia. Okay. I think she might be an S tier as well. Here's why. Her fight is bog standard, ordinary boss fight. But I think she makes up for it for her lore. Like, there are some portrait ghosts that, like, their lore and, like, the things you can learn about them by exploring the mansion, reading the books, reading their bios, just makes them that much more interesting. So, do you know much about Miss Petunia? I mean, I'm assuming that, but...
I don't, no.
So, the whole thing with her, you walk into that second floor bathroom, and you see her silhouette in the shower and the curtain as a skinny, basically sexy supermodel. And that is a reflection of her past. Miss Petunia was a supermodel. But something happened. I forget what exactly happened, but she literally, like, obviously gained a lot of weight, and obviously is very fat phobic and not the best in modern lights. But for her character, she literally devolved, and her character has a pig snout. Like, she turned into a pig, basically. Like, so, like, there's depth and complexion, and she hates ice because one of the other portrait ghosts, Nana, who's up next, played a prank on her, so that's how you have to defeat her, using the knowledge of the prank that Nana pulled on her. It's very complex. It makes her character so much more interesting than just a woman bathing in the shower. I think she's high A or S, just because of the complexity of her character.
See, that's so funny because I never knew about the prank. I just figured ice in a hot shower is going to make someone unhappy. So
yeah, that's how you technically learn of her weakness.
Was.
Yeah, that's how you learn of her weakness, because like you read one of the books in Nana's room and it says, it's like a diary entry where she's like, oh, I played this awful prank on Petunia today, and like it goes into the prank of using ice and it highlights it, you know, to tell you that's what you got to do.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. I would be willing to put her like high A.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that. Yeah, because like her boss fight, that's the one thing against her. The boss fight isn't anything crazy. Okay, next up we got Nana. Do you remember much of Nana's battle?
Nana is a difficult one because trying to hit her with those balls of yarn as she's moving around, it tests your skills with the seasick in a very different way than Bogmire because of the way the camera is. It's actually like testing your depth perception.
Yeah, it really does, because there's no real shadows or reticle to help you out while you're aiming them, so it is a hard one, but it is a satisfying one to kind of, like Bogmire, it is a satisfying one once you kind of get it. So I would say low A for Nana, probably. Maybe high B.
I was thinking top of B,
right,
just because I think they could have handled that a little bit better with aiming the yarn balls.
All right, I can do that. Speaking of aiming stuff, Slim Bank Shot.
Is it weird that I think like hitting him is easier? It's just it's something about it.
It is, and plus also with him, it's easier because unlike with Nana with the yarn balls, the pool balls bounce around. So like even if you miss, it can bounce off the wall and hit him still. And he can even hit himself if he walks into it. So, yeah. I mean, he's probably a little above Nano, kind of the same tier. He's not super interesting, not super complex. He's just kind of
there's not a lot going on with him, but he
is one of the optional ones, too. So, like,
True.
All right, we got Henry and Orville. Just their names alone, because the thing with that, right? Henry Ford, Orville Wright, yeah. So, it's like, that's cool on its own. And their hide-and-seek game is really cool. It took me ages to figure out. Again, it's one of those things you have to read the books to actually figure out, is you have to use, like, the elementals to use on those boxes to find them. Really, really cool stuff.
Wait, is it not just a guessing game?
Nope, you use the elementals. You use the elementals. If you fire on the box, it'll shake. That's why the second kid, because the second kid will say, "Oh, you're cheating." It's because the game will, you're supposed to use the elementals, and then they'll call that cheating.
20 plus years later, I never knew that.
See? You learn something new every day.
That's really cool, actually. I figured it was just like the kids being like, "Wow, there's no way you could have found me. You're cheating." Like, I didn't read more into that. Oh, that's really cool, actually.
So, wow, I feel bad for you then, because that must have taken you so many attempts.
Absolutely.
Playing on hard
sometimes great luck, and you get it in like 1 or 2 tries. Sometimes terrible luck, and it takes you a while. I never knew that.
Yeah, it's the next time you play, now you know.
Now I'm really torn on where to put them, because I was thinking lower because of the random chance, but it's not random chance.
I know. Yeah, I would say somewhere in A. I would say maybe above Lugs, below Chauncey.
Yeah, I could take that. Now that I know, there's actually, the way to do it, I think the presentation to theirs is great, too, so...
Yeah, exactly. They're just playful kids, and I kind of like, because they're part of the same family with Chauncey, Lydia, and Neville, and I kind of like that. Right. It's like we come back to that family later, they weren't in the beginning, we got to fight them a little later. I don't know, it's kind of cool to revisit that hallway. So yeah, I think A is perfect for them. Okay, Madame Clairvoyant, I think it's an easy S, in my opinion.
Yeah, easy S. Easy S.
I mean, she's I think probably... maybe besides Melody, and obviously King Boo, the most iconic portrait ghost from the game, maybe? I mean, just because she's around so long.
Aside from maybe Boolossus, I would say most iconic.
Yeah, because she sticks around for a while, because obviously, it's all about the hidden clues, and she's a helpful ghost, she helps you, and it is an interesting twist, and I don't know, really cool ghost.
Would we say above or below Melody? I would personally say above, but...
I'd say above. Just the iconic factor.
Yeah.
Speaking of iconic and Boolossus, we got Boolossus here.
This fight's so interesting, honestly. Because, I don't think it's necessarily hard, but it can be tricky if you get poor luck and the boos just keep avoiding you.
Yeah, well, the boos...
When they're split up.
They also have a pattern. The real trick with them is, especially when you're starting to run low, and I was when you have fewer boos, it gets really tricky. Yeah. The real trick is to hold on the vacuum, because when you're vacuuming, that's when they'll try to attack you. So if you hold the vacuum down and they come towards you and go for the charge, that's when you switch to the ice and get them before they can attack you. That's what my strategy typically is. Other people have different strategies, but that's what I kind of like about the Boolossus battle, is that there's different ways to approach it.
There's definitely different ways to approach it, and they want you to do different things. You get the trap, the big Boolossus, and then you kind of have to go around and get the other boos, especially if you have ice with you to actually, freeze them and grab them real quick.
Yeah. But it's still kind of an annoying fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Boolossus is a tier lower than the other 2 bosses so far.
Yeah.
Just because it's more annoying than those fights. Even though, I think it's designed pretty well, it's still a bit annoying because of how many of them there are.
Yeah, I would say, definitely somewhere in B. I would even say lower B, maybe.
Okay.
Just because it can be kind of annoying.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, we got Uncle Grimly. I'm a little torn on him because, I mean, again, his boss fight, there's nothing to him, but his boss fight, it's about the journey to him. Because, it's one of those things that it's more so with his boss fight, it's about when you play for the first time. You don't know where he is. You just know he's in a room with mirrors. So there's lots of different rooms with mirrors. There's the bathrooms. There's a literal room with a big mirror next to the fortune teller's room. You know, there's like different places you can explore, and then you find him in the what's the name of it? The wardrobe room. So it's more about the journey as opposed to the actual fight. And he's a hermit. He likes to keep to himself. But I'd still say he's probably a higher B tier, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking below Nana, because I do think, like, the journey you try to find him is pretty cool. And, yeah, it is one of those... It doesn't work as well on a replay, because you just know where he is.
Yeah.
But just the idea of the ghosts, even though you finish an area earlier, they could still be in some of those areas, or wandering to those areas, is kind of cool. And it helps the... He's one of those ghosts that help the mansion feel inhabited by them.
Yeah. Agreed. Alright, next we got the Clockwork Soldiers.
Oh boy.
See, I'm torn, because I do like their boss fight a decent amount. Like, it's not amazing, but like, they are just toys. I believe their lore is that they're kind of just toys brought to life by a toy maker, I believe. Toy maker, Doctor Who reference. But yeah, they're just kind of there.
I think the fact that you're fighting all three at once actually makes it, or could be fighting all three at once, makes it rather difficult and kind of annoying. So I was actually thinking of putting them in C.
Okay, I would agree to that. I would just say above the other two, though.
Okay, yeah. I think that works.
Perfect. Okay, Sue P. Listen, I think this is another S tier ghost, personally. Do you know much about it? Because Sue P is one of those ghosts that not everyone really fights. So I don't know if you know.
This is the one that you have to wake her up with the water.
Yeah.
And she's in like the flipped bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah. What I like about her, kind of like with Miss Petunia, is her backstory as well. She has a very complex backstory, like, because the whole reason you have to use water to wake her up is not because water wakes her up, but because her problem is when she was alive was she always wet the bed. So she's always scared, like, I don't want to wet the bed, I don't want to wet the bed. And you use water, it's like, oh my god,
I do remember that. I do remember that from the lore, yeah.
And, like, you read, like, I literally remember reading her Game Boy Horror entry, like, her biography, and it's literally, like, the most grim thing in the world. It said, something about her night's sleep was became an eternal rest for sweet little Sue P. And I'm like, that is so dark. Like, it's really dark, and I kind of love it. Like, it's like the kind of dark that you'd expect from, like, Zelda or something. Not like a Mario game. And I don't know. It's just, she's iconic. She is my favorite portrait ghost in the game. Spoiler alert.
Oh, really?
So I would say she is an S. Yes, she is my favorite.
Yeah,
and the fact that she is hidden. Like, she's hidden. You have to look for her.
That's true. She is an optional one. Yeah. I would put her in bottom of S. I think that's fair. The fact that this little girl has one of the darkest backstories.
It's grim. It's freaking grim. And like, she's in like a guest bedroom tucked off to the side. Cause I believe her lore, and I believe she's related to the others as well, like to Neville, Lydia, Chauncey, and the twins. I believe she's related to them, but like, she's kept away. So like, there's a weird, like, there's so much lore and things people kind of question. I don't know. I love it. Then we have the black sheep of the mansion, Jarvis. I don't know where to put this thing. This thing he's weird.
Jarvis is weird, but I think also, like, pretty fun and silly. Personally, I was thinking top of B, but...
I can agree to that.
Yeah.
He's just weird. He looks like something that's ripped out of Zelda. Like...
Yeah.
He's so weird. I like it, but I don't know. Alright, so we only got 3 more in Luigi Mansion 1 to go, and we're gonna start off with Sir Weston.
This one's interesting, because I feel like I always overlook this one.
Yeah.
Whenever I think back to the Portrait Ghosts.
Yeah, I don't want to say forgettable, because he's not forgettable. He's one of those ghosts that you kind of just go in, face, and you just kind of go in, do what you need to do, and leave. Like, he's not a ghost that you really pay attention to in any sort of way.
I think it's because you largely don't see him most of the time. You see all the ice.
Yeah, you're so focused on all the ice in the room, like, and plus the sliding around is really fun.
I
would say probably bottom of B.
Yeah, I think that works.
Yeah. Alright, Vincent Van Gogh. Listen. His boss fight may just be an enemy gauntlet, but given that his whole thing is he makes the art of the ghost come alive, it kind of makes sense that this is an enemy gauntlet because that's his whole shtick. He paints ghosts alive. So
that's his whole thing.
I'd say top of A, bottom of S, I'd say for him personally.
Yeah, I love like the character design to him and like what he's meant to be. And I love the kind of implication that everything we're doing with like the portrait ghosts and everything, if this is a painter, like there feels like it's something deeper there to it all, especially since his whole thing is making the paintings come to life. So maybe, you know, if all of these were portraits, did he also paint all of the portraits in the mansion?
Yeah, he's so clever, so creative. I mean, I wish they did a little more with him, but I think he is like the perfect penultimate battle for the game. Yeah,
that's why I agree with bottom of S.
Yeah. All right, we got...
And now we have the King Boo battle.
King Boo battle.
The final boss of Luigi's Mansion 1.
With the plot twist, well, it wasn't really a plot twist because Madame Clairvoyant spoiled it, but Bowser is part of the final boss fight. I believe it's partly, like, the canon, the lore is that, like, it's this game's almost like a pseudo-sequel to Super Mario 64. Like, Bowser's technically dead. So, like, King Boo is, like, bringing him back to life. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird lore thing. I don't understand.
And even then, it doesn't seem like it's actually Bowser. It's more like a Bowser suit for King Boo to be hiding in. So it kind of feels weird because it feels like you're not fighting King Boo, you're fighting Bowser.
Yeah, it's weird. But honestly, given the fact the other two games... you are fighting King Boo himself, and they kind of do feel like the same. I do kind of end up liking it a little bit more because it does something a little different than just fighting King Boo.
See, I look at it the other way around of, it's like King Boo doesn't stand as a villain, they had to bring in Bowser. Is the way I took that, and I don't really like that it's like, I want to fight King Boo with all these like ghostly powers that he has. I don't want to fight this Bowser because that's not Luigi's enemy.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing that like because of the fact that it is a Bowser suit and that King Boo's controlling it and he is using his king magic for it. That's the one thing, because I do agree with that. That's the one thing that makes me go like, okay, like it's not bad. I think it's like fine, like as a battle, like B, somewhere in B.
Yeah, I'm thinking, what if we did above Nana?
I say put him above Slim as well, because Nana and Slim are kind of similar too. So yeah, I'd say there.
So high B. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, now on to
and that's Luigi's Mansion 1.
Alright, Luigi's Mansion 2. I'll be honest, I feel like I don't have much to say about many of these bosses. So I feel like Luigi's Mansion 2 is going to be a breeze.
Yeah. I mean, the poltergeists are they're kind of recurring. They're stronger versions here and there, but like they are like kind of constant mini bosses, which is why I have them here as well.
Yeah, I mean, their bosses are fun, admittingly. I do like as much as I hate them as ghosts, like I obviously mentioned in your video about their voices and about all that. Their battles themselves, but I mean, I am also basing off the ghosts themselves too, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah. I do think they present fun fights, which is why I would say very bottom of A. Like nothing could be below them in A.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Nice.
The Three Sisters. These are ghosts that I think definitely should have been human ghosts. But
yeah, they would have been portrait ghosts in a different Luigi's Mansion game.
But because of the fact that in this game that they did have at least unique designs, I do appreciate them. The designs themselves are good, and I actually did figure out upon my playthrough of Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, they actually were human, and they do actually have human pictures inside Haunted Towers, the second mansion. So I was like, okay, there's a little bit of something there. There's a little bit of background, a little bit of lore. But their fight is fine. It's nothing crazy.
Yeah, they're fine. That's exactly what I was thinking too. It's nice that there is a little bit more with them, but it would have been nice to see, something a little more substantial. Given what the bosses of each area in this game is, it would have been nice to see a little bit more from them.
Yeah, I would say somewhere in B again.
I do maybe bottom B.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, the spider boss in the first mansion, Glue Manor.
So the way these are, all these next few bosses from this are the possessors, and so we have the grouchy possessor, which is what possesses the spider. Just to make that clear, because otherwise all the pictures would look almost the same.
Oh god. Okay, yeah. Spider, I'll be honest, I know a lot of people say this is like one of their favorite bosses from the game. I think it's mid. I think it's meh. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I know you haven't played Dark Moon in a while, but
I was gonna say that this was the only one from Dark Moon that like really stood out to me in my memory, but I think that's because it was the one they marketed the most of, like, oh my gosh, look, there's a giant spider boss.
Yeah.
I think it plays into the creepy factor for Luigi pretty well, by using more than just the ghost.
Yeah.
Which is why I feel like it's definitely nowhere near A, but I feel like somewhere in B is reasonable for the first boss, like the first real boss.
Yeah, somewhere in B. Question is where? I mean,
maybe above Biff, but below Neville.
Yeah,
kind of below that baseline.
I can agree to that.
Okay.
All right. What's the name of the second one? The staircase boss. What's the name of that one?
The staircase boss is the harsh possessor.
This is one of the most underwhelming boss fights in the world. It's not bad, so I don't want to put it in D, but I think it should go at the very bottom of C, personally. It's underwhelming as heck.
It's really funny to see Luigi slide all the way down the stairs before the boss fight because of this.
That's the thing.
Ghost, but that's really it.
The build-up to the fight was better than the fight. Like, it was there's suspense. There was, like, you have
that's a problem.
Yeah, like, that's a problem. Like, that's not good design. That was just bleh. Not great boss.
Yeah. The next one we have is the Overset Possessor, which possesses, like, the clock face.
Oh, yeah, I forgot as well. Remember yesterday with the Common Ghost, I told you the whole GHOST thing? They did the same thing with Possessors here.
Yep, that makes sense.
So, yeah. This battle, if I'm not mistaken, this is the clock one, which is the enemy gauntlet. Because of the fact that it was an enemy gauntlet and it focused more on the ghost combat, which I actually do think was one of Luigi's Mansion 2's stronger suits.
That's fair.
This actually probably was one of my more preferred, or one of my favorite battles from the game, if not actually maybe my favorite.
I remember it being a pretty good one, actually. Like the fight as a whole actually being a pretty good one in terms of how it's structured.
Yeah, it was pretty dang good, not gonna lie. I'd say definitely above Spider. I'm trying to think if I probably towards the top of B. I'm trying to think if top of B, bottom of A.
We could do. Well, the question is, would it be above or below the original King Boo?
Oh, it's gotta be below. Yeah, it's gotta be below. Yeah, it's gotta be below that.
So so there you go. All right.
Ice boss.
Now
D. Throw it in there. I don't need to talk about it. We don't need to talk about it. Just throw it in there. Moving on.
I was thinking the same thing.
Perfect. That's set.
The final one is the Tough Possessor.
So that's from the Nightmare to Remember. That's the giant night boss.
Yeah.
This one was decent. I remember hating it, like absolutely loathing it. Not as much as the Ice Boss on my first playthrough, but when I replayed the game, I actually do think it is kind of clever.
Yeah, I think it's clever. I don't think it does a lot that I like, but I do think it does well with the themes of this game and like the gameplay of it. So I would say like mid B.
Yep.
Maybe like around right next to Spider.
I'd agree to that.
Okay.
King Boo boss.
King Boo.
It's good. It's fine. It's. I mean, you see King Boo's powers, which is good, but I mean, it's fine. I'm trying to debate if I like it more than the first game's boss fight.
Mm-hmm. I think I do personally. But like this one better than the original King Boo boss fight, because this was like one of the first times you really got to look at like King Boo's power set.
Yeah.
That wasn't like him commanding other ghosts.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I agree. I would honestly think I would just put him like just right above the original boss fight. Like, I don't think it's that much better or that much crazier.
Yeah.
Like, they're comparable in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
Alrighty, we got 15 minutes to get through Luigi's Mansion 3. Let's see how we can do this.
Yep.
Oh god, okay, Luigi's Mansion 3, now I gotta remember, all those other ghosts besides the Possessors I remember the names of. Okay, this is Steward first.
Yes. Yes, Steward.
he's kind of bog standard. He's just kind of B, I think.
Yeah, so like right next to Neville.
Yeah,
I'll put him right above because I think he sets the standard for the kind that we get in 3.
Yeah, like his fight was more involved. Like the boss fights or all the human ghosts. Well, they're not all humans, but you know what I mean. In 3, they are all a little more complex. Because they're more bossy. So yeah. Shambrea. I don't know.
I remember finding hers a little annoying.
Yeah,
personally.
I didn't care about hers.
Just because you had to chase her down so much after she swallowed the suitcase. If I remember correctly, you had to like suction cup and like flip, so it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But the chasing her down was kind of annoying. So I would put her like top of C.
I agree to that. I agree.
Okay.
Oh shoot, the cop. What's the mall cop's name? Cruller.
Yes.
Cruller, right? Cruller.
Yes, Cruller.
He, the thing I found really weird with his boss fight, it's a fine boss fight. You suck off his glasses, you know, it's fine. But his fight, you can only fight him using Luigi. So, like, the co-op component
and he's got
of the
the water
game,
pistol.
Yeah, it has the water pistol. So, like, because the whole thing about this game is supposed to be kind of co-op. So this boss fight kind of negates, like, the whole co-op thing. Is like, only the Luigi player can fight this boss. Kind of weird. But he's definitely better than Steward, but I don't think he's above B at all.
I would put him probably right below the original King Boo, because I think he has a lot of personality and he's really fun. He's definitely designed around like a Paul Blart mall cop kind of.
I nearly called him Paul Blart.
He's a lot of personality. But the fight itself is okay.
Yeah. Next up we got Chef Souffle. He's probably one of the better ones in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's decent. He's pretty good. His boss fight, while not overly complex, it does take a little bit of skill to do, and he's got a bit of personality. He's not necessarily the best chef because this kitchen's all smoked out when you walk in there, so he's not a great chef. So I'd say somewhere in A, like
bottom A, maybe.
Bottom of A, yeah, I can agree to that.
Yeah. There's just something about that one. I think the presentation to it all is pretty fun, but
yeah. All right, we got Amadeus Wolfgeist. His boss fight's pretty cool. It's a very involved attacking with the chairs. It's pretty good. It's somewhere in A, I think he is.
Yeah, I'm thinking I would put him like right above Bogmire personally. I think this one is actually a really good boss.
I agree. It's a pretty good boss.
Music and presentation and everything and the pianos.
Yeah, I agree. He's a good one. King McFrights. His fight's pretty good as well. It's fine. It's a little more on the bog standard side, so I think somewhere in B he should fit, probably.
Maybe right below Nana?
Yeah. What, do you remember much of him at all? Do you have any input on him?
I know this is the one that they marketed a lot, and I think it makes some good use of the new mechanics that they introduced in this game, but
yeah.
I think I just like a lot of the other ghosts a bit better, is basically how I stand on it.
Yeah. Like that, and that's the one thing that I think is the problem with a lot of the ghosts in this game is, like, really, we can only really judge them based off of their fights, because none of them, except for one, have dialogue. I mean, well, I guess Helen Gravely technically, but, like, most of the regular bosses don't have dialogue, they don't have any backstories, they don't have any clever lore to them, so you just kind of got to go off of their design and their fight, so.
Yep.
Mr. Potter, I believe this guy's name is.
Dr. Potter?
Doctor, sorry, I didn't know he had his PhD. Unpopular opinion, I actually really liked his fight. In my opinion, one of the better fights in the game. A lot of people hated his fight for some reason.
I'm actually with you on that. I thought this one was really good.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't know. Every time, because I always say he's one of my favorites from the game, and everyone always craps on me for that, so.
I would be willing to put him, like, right up here in A. Like, top of A, maybe, because I think it's actually, like, a really good boss. I agree. 100%. Morty. Okay, we're going to do Morty, and then we're going to blast through some of these ones, because we are running low on time. I feel like Morty is just S, in terms of character, personality, the fact that you could actually just leave him be, you don't need to get him, and you could watch his movie afterwards. I concur. But I will say, I think he should be at the very bottom of S. I don't think he's better than all of those, because the only thing with him is I actually don't care for the boss fight itself. That's fair. The boss fight itself is more of shooting the movie. Yeah, and not to mention also,
if you're playing alone, you have to switch between Luigi and Luigi, which I think in that boss battle particularly is a little clumsy. Because like when you shoot the orb back at him, you have to switch between the two and walk, and it's a little awkward.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's definitely fair. I just think their whole presentation behind Morty makes him one of the best, like, portrait ghost, like, characters in the series.
Yeah. Alrighty, so, right off the bat, I'm going to, I'm just going to select from the ghosts we have left. Wait, who's that last one?
The very last one is the second art of, this one, the Cleopatra-like one.
Gotcha.
I just accidentally had 2 images in there.
No, that's what's her name?
Serpy?
Serpsy, yeah. Okay, so
Serpsy.
I'm going to knock out a few of these in one go.
Okay.
I think Clem and Polterkitty should go in D.
Okay, I was thinking C for Clem, not just because of the name, but just because I think, like, design-wise, he actually has a pretty strong design, and he's kind of funny, but I would not put him any higher than, like, bottom C, because he's really annoying.
The boss fight is the worst boss fight in the game easily. And then Polterkitty, I do think should still stay in D. Polterkitty is the most...
I'm definitely think above the ice boss here.
Oh, yeah, 100%. That ice boss is horrible.
Polterkitty, mechanically, is actually very annoying. Similar to Polterpup in 2, of just its constant backtracking. But Polterkitty's just kind of constantly messing with Luigi, and you just grow whenever it comes back.
Yeah. Moving up to C, because I think I'm just going to go by letter and put the ghost in just to make it quick. In C, I think the only ghost that really, from this group, needs to go to C is Ugg.
Yeah, not too much going on there.
Not too much going on. I think he probably is a little higher C, because this boss fight is kind of fun, but, like, there's not much to him. He's just a caveman.
I'm going to put him above Spooky.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think B, a lot of these ghosts are going to go to B. I think Serpsy should go in B. And you of course...
I would put Serpsy high B.
Okay,
personally.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot going on with her.
Let me know if you disagree with any of these as well. I don't want to dictate this whole list, but let me know if you disagree.
No, it's fine.
So yeah, I think Serpsy should go in B. I think that DJ Phantasmagoria should go in B. I think her should go in B and low B, personally. I don't know where you want to put her.
I wish there was more enemy variety in it. It was cool, but there should have been more in it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put her there, right above Biff.
And I think the other two Bs I wanted to do were Captain Fishhook, I think his name is, the shark.
Yes. I think yes, Captain Fishhook. I love the ghost shark design, but I do agree with B in terms of everything.
I think it should be higher B, like in the upper half, but
yeah, I'll do right up here.
And the only other one I think should be in B is Johnny Deepend.
Yes. I'm going to put him right above Biff.
Perfect.
He's right there with Biff.
They're made for each other.
He just got a little bit more personality, therefore they're made for each other.
I would say this might be a hot take.
Uh-huh.
I think King Boo's boss battle should be an A. I do think I think it is my favorite King Boo boss fight. A lot of people hate the timer at the end. I love it.
I actually really like this one.
It gives you a sense of urgency. People are like, oh, the timer, you can run out of time. Well, yeah, there's a sense of urgency. The whole point is that it's all like everything, all this power that King Boo has, it's all kind of collapsing in on itself, and it's just too much. So yeah, there's going to be pressure. You want pressure from the boss fight. And I had no problem with it.
It's a great showcase of King Boo's power set as well, and just, it adds a lot of tension to it, which is something we didn't have a lot of in previous King Boo fights, I feel like.
Yeah,
so, where in A, though, is the question? Because I feel like upper half. But...
Definitely upper half. I would say probably below Amadeus, like right there. That's where I'm thinking.
Sounds good.
All right, so I mean, that Serpsy is going to be with the other Serpsy, right? I'm assuming they're and I think those two... I'm trying. Helen. I think Nikki, Lindsay, and Ginny, the triplets. I think they're S. personally.
Yeah, I think they feel like original Luigi's Mansion kind of.
Thank God. Okay, thank God. Because I'll be honest, that's my favorite floor of the game. It's my favorite boss of the game. It just feels very classic. It feels good, and the only thing I don't love about them is their personality. But like they have a little bit of personality. They got a little something. They're sisters. They banter. Whatever. It's cute. They're fine. They're S.
I put them. I put them above Vincent Van Gogh.
Yeah, and then lastly we got Helen Gravely. I'm torn between A and S because she is a really good penultimate boss battle, like almost as good as Vincent Van Gogh. The question is, I don't know where to put her.
I love her personality and the fact that all of this was not because she serves King Boo, it's to impress King Boo.
Yeah.
Because she's obsessed with him. Like, you go to her floor, her rooms, there's, like, King Boo, all this merch that I wish they would release, because I would buy some of that stuff.
Yeah, those, I remember on the mall floor, there are King Boo slippers. Oh, I would buy the heck out of those.
Exactly. Like, you can't just make this fake merch and not sell it. Like, please.
Yeah, and I think her boss fight is also really strong, too. This is one where I feel like even solo, because it obviously relies a lot on Luigi and Luigi being separate, I actually do think it works in this battle. Because now it's less, it doesn't feel as clunky as Morty's. Here it feels more like you gotta watch both of them and you gotta you do a little bit more management. It feels a little more involved than just, oh, switch to Luigi and walk up a little bit, then switch back, walk up a little bit. Like, it's more involved, and I really liked it. I would say very top of A at least.
I was thinking above Morty, still
good.
in S.
We're set.
Like, cause she has more personality than Morty.
Perfect.
As much as I and everyone else love Morty, there's more going on for Helen because she's pretty much your main antagonist aside from King Boo. So we see so much from her throughout the game.
Perfect. And there we go. That's our list. I think this is a pretty dang good list. I know we kind of rushed the end there just because we're running low on time, but I think that's a really solid list. Is there anything that you'd want to change?
No, I'm actually quite happy with it.
This is a solid list.
The only thing I would ever consider is Polterkitty, and that's just because I have no idea where I would actually put Polterkitty. Like, fun design, I don't like it as much as Polterpup. I think the thing that really just drags Polterkitty down, if they had Polterkitty, the problem with Polterkitty is that, like Polterpup, she's a backtracking thing. Like, and it's just annoying. Like, I always hate when they, pet peeve, they make Luigi a bumbling idiot in this game where, like, Polterkitty is literally just right in front of him, and it's like, he's standing there. He has the chance to strobe over the cat, but no, he just watches her waltz off. So it's like, every little bit of that just irks me about it, and then it's backtracking on top of it to where it's like, don't like it. Yeah, no, I get that. It's forced backtracking.
Yeah, and it just doesn't feel natural at all, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I get that. But the design's fun, but mechanically it does too much that we don't like, that it just makes sense to play slower, so yeah.
All right, perfect. So that's our list. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Triss, is there anything you want to plug in here before we sign off?
If you guys enjoyed this ranking of the bosses, make sure you look at the ranking of all the standard ghosts, all the common ghost enemies from throughout the series, which is on my channel. You can find me on YouTube and any social media at ToonTriss. Like Zach, I do a ton of different Nintendo coverage.
Perfect. Yes, I'll leave links and all that in the description down below. So thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, see you all in the next video.